I'm possible. It's time to lift your spirit, and Jill Berlin is here to motivate and inspire you. Welcome to the Jill Berlin Show on Triad Today.
And welcome to the Jill Berlin Show. We are so excited to have you here. And we are going to start, as we always do, with a positive quote. This is by Eric Hoffer. And he says, in times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. So I love that quote. And in fact, Doug Blizzard, who is Chief Solutions Officer at Catapult, told us about this quote before we went on air. Doug, first of all, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. So we were talking about how the workforce and the workplace is changing, and you've got to adapt and adjust with changes. So hard to do. Easy to say.
Yeah.
Hard to do. So let's talk a little bit about some of the changes that are going on in kind of the future of the workplace and what you're seeing and what you're hearing. So it's not just changing. The workforce is actually shrinking.
Yeah, we face a demographic challenge now that is new to us in the United States. You figure we've had 52 straight years in this country of below replacement birth rate, meaning we're just not having enough babies.
We're not having enough babies.
And so you've got an input problem. You're not enough babies. And on the other side, you've got what some people call the Great Resignation, which is in this country, 10,000 people turn 65 every day.
Yeah.
And we'll do that for the next 7 or 8 years. So you've got an output problem.
Yeah.
You're losing skilled workers on the other side. And what accelerated that, this boomer retirement and Xers like me retiring, is COVID. And I think that's been some have called that the biggest change in the workplace since the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
In that a lot of people on all levels of the spectrum reprioritize their life, where work stands. I know I live at the beach half the month, and that whole population there has surged since COVID. Everybody moved down there and just does their job from there. So hybrid, virtual, et cetera.
Uh-huh.
But then also at the lower end of the workplace, you've also seen a record number of upskilling happening during that time. So a lot of industries are now feeling the pinch today of not enough workers. And I say a lot, you just can't recruit your way out of this.
Right.
You can't pay and benefits your way out of this. You can't recruit your way out of this. This is a fundamental problem. You've got to figure out how to do more with less people.
Right. And so something that a lot of folks are talking about is AI, right? And how AI is taking over the workforce, but you're actually, you look at it differently. You say that it's reshaping the roles.
It's a blessing. I mean, really, because again, if you're an employer, the reality is you've got fewer workers now. And so I've got to figure out a way as an employer to handle that, whether it's automation, whether it's outsourcing parts of my operation, whether it's bringing in foreign workers.
Uh-huh.
I mean, go to the Outer Banks during the summer, you'll notice all the clerks are from Eastern Europe. That's not by mistake.
Right.
Why is that? Because they can't find people around locally to do those jobs. And so I think AI to me is a blessing that enables you to do more with less. I mean, Bojangles has Bolinda, right? You go to Bojangles and they've got Bolinda, who is now the automated at about half those stores.
Right.
And frankly, I find it's better. It's clearer. You understand
Your
the person.
mom even said she likes it better.
My 84-year-old has learned that she likes it better, right? Because they clarify what you want. They make sure the order's right. It reduces errors. So again, it's not about replacing people. That's one of the negative, points you hear a lot. It's about supplementing as these people are retiring and we don't have enough inputs coming in. And North Carolina, of course, is fortunate in that you've got a lot of in-migration happening from other states coming here. But still, you see it in industry after industry after industry, where you're going to have to use automation and or some form of AI to survive this coming. There's a cliff coming. We're right now today. We're at 1970s levels of the total workforce right now, working age population, and there's a cliff coming that's going to start about 2030. So you're talking about 5-6 years from now
of people not working as much.
Yeah,
and that has a lot to do with the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Which we talk a lot about on the show because I run a health insurance agency. And so we are just, it is, that resonates. I get that.
Well, plus you've got the Xers like me. They're also at a point where they're looking at the workforce and what's going to have to change.
Right.
A lot of them don't want to go through that.
Right.
Do I really want to go through all the change that's going to be required to compete? And it's really every industry. Industry. I was speaking to the Association of Concrete Manufacturers, and you'd think concrete hadn't changed in 1,000 years. Oh, yes. There's tremendous change in that industry. A lot of owners are retiring. The kids don't want the businesses. They got to find out who wants to buy the company. They've got to figure out there's precast concrete, there's green concrete. So every industry has their version of significant change happening, and they got to respond at a time when they're having fewer and fewer workers.
So do you want to change?
Yeah. And again, companies aren't really made to change. They're made to, back to the old Henry Ford assembly line, right? The same way, scalability,
okay, that's
repeatability.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 40% of workers will need to reskill in the next 3 years.
Right.
So how that's not a stat, that's a strategy. So how do companies start to build their learning into the current staff?
Yeah, well, it starts obviously with the senior leadership teams. They've got to understand that it's really more about planting now, not about removing and trying to go find a better tree.
Right.
It's time to start planting. It's a long-term strategy, which is not, again, something that a lot of companies do well. Most companies are smaller. In this state, in North Carolina, 95% of all companies have less than 50 employees. People don't realize that, but that's the
a lot of small businesses out there,
and they don't think for them long term is this week.
Right.
Can I get through this week and make payroll?
Yeah.
So it's really about it's a constant focus on how do we adapt, how do we plant and grow, as opposed to let's just go find somebody else.
Right. All right. Let's talk a little bit about going back to the COVID and the hybrid learning. Yeah. I think a lot of people are loved that and want to keep doing that. But how effective is that? Do you feel like people actually get work done at the beach, Doug?
Yeah. To me, we proved during COVID that we can do it from a productivity standpoint alone. So I think on that metric, yes, I think workers prove they can be at or more productive at home. The challenge is on the culture side. It's very hard to build culture. My company now is 100% virtual. And of course, I don't like it because I've got gray hair and I want to be in the office, right? But it's very hard to coach new employees, to really instill those behaviors. So I'm a big fan of hybrid, of let's be flexible, as opposed to let's go all virtual. And I think what survey after survey shows what employees really want is flexibility.
Right.
Even like a manufacturing, we're manufacturing, we can't be flexible. Sure, we've got one member that has 16 different shift combinations. Amazon has their shift swap app where employees can swap shifts. Say that 3 times in a row. Mm-hmm. But the point is, it gives flexibility, and I think that's the key word to me now for companies is flexibility. That's what employees really want.
Right. All right. So talk about well-being as a business strategy, because I know a lot of folks talk about burnout, mental health. What do you do for that? This
is another area, because one of the challenges with wellness programs is you tend to attract the people that are already working out,
right,
and already eating well. Now you just give them a discount or give them a gift card or whatnot. And so how do you attract the ones? In healthcare world, most of your claims are 5 or 10% of your company, right? That's 9% of your claims. So how do you handle that? Well, we just saw a neat AI app last week called Tuffy. It's by a company called Tough Day. And what it does is it goes alongside the employee and helps them through issues they're having in their life. It's an AI-driven platform. So the younger generation likes things like that. You're not calling and talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And it was written and developed by, Harvard psychiatrists and whatnot. So they got a lot of people putting into this. That's just an example, I think, where you can start meeting people where they are when they're having their issues. And at different generations. And, I think that's always a challenge. How do you reach the people that aren't going to necessarily go work out or eat right or whatever?
How do you talk to someone like me? I'm a small business owner,
right.
I would love to implement more AI, but I find it confusing.
Yeah, I had an eye-opening.
I have graduated from college. I have birthed human beings, but the AI makes me feel like I've never done anything in my life.
So as an example, I was leading a group of HR professionals yesterday, and we were talking about how they use AI. And one of them is it's a small business. They're an electrical distributor, and they've now put AI in their order entry process. And so as the customer calls in to place orders, AI is listening to that and it's putting up on the screen for the customer service rep, like it's hearing, it's making recommendations. Hey, because they've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parts, right? Here's what they ordered. Here's some alternative parts at lower price. And what's done for them from a workplace standpoint is now I can go hire people that are great, have great customer service skills. I can teach them. Usually their problem was, let's go try to find people that are skilled and experienced. Intuit was a famous case of Intuit, TurboTax. Mm-hmm. So they learned long ago they could train someone to do the job. They went and found a lot of people in retail, the best waitresses, the best waiters, the best clerks. They've got great customer service. They think on their feet. They're fast thinkers, and then they train them. That's how AI can be used as an example, order entry, taking orders.
Mhm.
There's another app that you can use to actually simulate a salesperson.
Mhm.
And it's
So crazy.
yeah. So a lot of us think AI is like Chat GPT. That's like an entry level.
Right, right.
There are a lot of programs actually can, sit alongside. Think of sales reps, and you're taking calls, and
Right.
think of media. Same
Right.
thing.
Right.
You can have AI right now listening to me and saying, based on what Doug just said, ask him this question.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's
Yeah.
an example.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want that. I want to think of the questions on my own.
Right.
All right. So HR must help employers to lead the way. Talk about that.
Yeah, I could spend hours on that, but if you think about the history of HR, 60 years ago, there was only 2 employment laws in the country, two, and we now have 52. And so HR kind of changed from more of an operational, industrial kind of relations to more of a compliance focused department, but out of necessity. And so I think now you're at a point where what companies need is this talent piece. And not just filling positions and writing job descriptions, things. Actually, how do we really rethink how all of our jobs function here?
Which goes back to how the future is co-created.
I mean, think about programmers. Programmers now, it's less about you have apps that can write the code better, faster, quicker. It's about making sure it's the right code for the right app. So even their job is changing, and their jobs at every level that are changing. So it's really HR. Someone's got to step up and help companies, particularly small companies, figure out, how can I rethink how my work is done here?
Right.
Because it's happening. I mean, go to Lowe's Hardware and you go to check out and there's no one, it's all self-checkout. Why?
Right.
Someone's got to start thinking through that at companies. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then how does Catapult help with all that?
Yeah. So we are, we've got about 2,000 companies we work with, and we do everything HR for them. So for small companies, we run HR for them. We do their payroll, their benefits, all that stuff, all the way to larger companies. We just support them in project work and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a huge benefit, because a lot of times the business owners just don't have time for that, and they need someone to come in and do it for them. And that's what you guys do.
But the nature of our engagements are changing. We're definitely getting more and more engagements around this area of, look, I need help. I keep doing the same things over and over and over again. I just can't find the right talent, and we're trying to start helping them to rethink the work.
Yeah.
How work is done.
All right. So if people are interested in getting in touch, where can they go and how can they do that, Doug?
My website's letscatapult.org.
Letscatapult.org. All right, Doug, thank you so much.
Sure.
That was really interesting. I appreciate you coming in and talking about that.
Thank you.
All right. When we come back, we just talked about changes in the workplace. We're going to talk about changes in Medicare coming up. It's open enrollment season, and we are definitely going to be talking about that after this break. Stay tuned.